Hey everybody, this is me, Roger Aladdin Daltrey, and today I'm here to do use my penultimate video now for 2018. So for today's video, it's going to be a 35th anniversary tribute for Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys, who died this day 35 years ago. And he was 39 and he had drowned, which was a really sad time for the Beach Boys then. And it was only coming towards the end of 1983, so it kind of leads on to 1984. So, I don't own that many Beach Boys records. All I have from the Beach Boys is just the Pet Sounds album, which Rolling Stone magazine ranks as the second greatest album of all time, after Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles. And then I have a Beach Boys compilation with some of their hits and some of the Pet Sounds songs. So, I thought I would give you a quick overview of Pet Sounds. I think the front cover of Pet Sounds looks amazing with them feeding the animals. Right. So let's see. So Wouldn't It Be Nice, I think, is an excellent opening track. I really like the vocals on that song a lot. It just shows what the Beach Boys were really like, doesn't it? Because they are just full of life, aren't they? The Beach Boys. Yeah, and Wouldn't It Be Nice is a great song to open the album with. I like You Still Believe in Me because it's amazing. A great second track of the album, and it could be like saying, if I Believe in Me, we could have I Believe in You, which are song titles by both Neil Young on 1970's After the Gold Rush, and by Bob Dylan on 1979's Slow Train Comin'. Ah, yes. And then You on its own are song titles by the following, by R.E.M. on 1994's Monster, by Marvin Gaye on 1968's I Heard Through the Grapevine, which celebrated its 50th anniversary this year, and a song titled by Aladdin, Homer, Shrek, and Mr. Incredible on 1981's Face Dances, and then credited to Little Mix for only Perry Edwards, Jane Furwell, Leanne Pinnock, and then if Kimberly Wyatt from Pussycat Dolls comes in for Jesse Nelson, it'll be that ninth record by Little Mix. Because again, Little Mix are great, and again, I actually love Little Mix, and in my previous video for Rick Parfitt, I wanted to go on camera to tell you all specifically how much I love Little Mix, and I do anyway, because I just think they're great. Seriously. Yeah, You Still Believe in Me, great song. And That's Not Me is pretty good as well, and it's basically, take out Not, we have That's Me, which is a song titled by Paul Simon on 2006's Surprise. And then maybe with That's Me, we could have something like That's Me in the Corner, which is a line in R.E.M's Losing My Religion from 1991's classic album Out of Time, which is great. Then we have, I think Don't Talk is a bit okay. It's not one of the best songs on that album, but it's grand. Don't on its own is obviously a song titled by Elvis. And then we could have, instead of saying Don't Talk, we could have Don't Stop, an album titled by Status Quo from 1996, and then song titles by both Fleetwood Mac from 1977's Rumours and by the Stone Roses on their 1989 self-titled debut. Or even Don't Stop Me Now by Queen from 1978's Jazz, which is one of the Queen's finest albums of the 70s. Well, with a song like Don't Stop Me Now, it's just great. And then with Don't Talk, we obviously have Don't Talk to Strangers, which is a song titled by Aladdin on his 1985 record Under Raging Moon. Because once again, Aladdin is the man. And then the Under Raging Moon album being credited to Perry Edwards of Little Mix as well. Because, again, she can rock hard without the other three, I think, personally. So hopefully in 2032, Perry should be releasing her 6th solo album. Like, this year, Leanne Pinnock from Little Mix should have done her debut solo record out. And hopefully for next year, Jade should bring out her debut solo record out. But then, Leanne doing her 2nd album for next year. But anyway, Don't Talk, Pretend My Shoulder is a bit boring for me. But it's grand. I'm Waiting for the Day is pretty good as well. And then we could be like saying, I'm Waiting for the Man, which is a song titled by the Velvet Underground on the 1967 album Velvet Underground and Nico. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, and then We could have Waiting for the Miracle by Leonard Cohen on 1992's The Future. And we could have Waiting for the Hurricane by Chris Berg. And we could have Waiting for the Right Time by Barclay James Harvest on 1983's Ring of Changes. And the same for Waiting for the Rapture by Oasis, coming off 2008's Dig Out Your Soul, which celebrated its 10th anniversary this year. And then Day on its own, we could have maybe Beautiful Day, which is a song titled by U2, coming off 2000's All That You Can Leave Behind, which is pretty good. But then Let's Go Away for a While is pretty fun as well. Let's Go on its own, our song titles by both the Ramones on 1980's End of the Century and by the Cars from 1979's Candy O. This is pretty good. Snoop John B is pretty good. But then I love God Only Knows. God Only Knows is one of the greatest songs of all time. And I think Rolling Stone magazine ranks it as the 25th greatest song of all time. And yeah, and it was also covered by David Bowie on his 1984 record, Tonight. And then I Know There Is an Answer is pretty good. And then an answer, we could have Anybody's Answer by Grand Funk Railroad on 1969's On Time. And speaking of which, guys, I got Grand Funk Railroad's Trunk of Funk Volume 1 for Christmas, so at the start of 2019, maybe, I'll do the unboxing video for that. And then with Answer, we can have No Answer, which is an album title by Electric Light Orchestra. And then, well, No Answer is one of my favourite 70s debut albums, along with the following: The Faces' First Step, John Lennon Plastic Ono Band, Paul McCartney, ZZ Top's first album, the debut albums of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Blue Oyster Cult, Roxy Music, Aerosmith, Queen, Kiss, Bad Company, The Ramones, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, The Clash, Foreigner, The Cars, Van Halen, The Police Have Allowed Us to More, Aladdin's 1973 self-titled album, which is now credited to Perry Edwards of Little Mix, and then Homer Simpson, Who Came First, credited to Jade Furwall of Little Mix, Shrek, Smash Your Head Against the Wall, which is credited to Leanne Pinnock from Little Mix, and then Wallace, Two Sides of the Moon, which is credited to Jesse Nelson of Little Mix. And then the 1978 solo Kiss albums of Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley. I mean, Gene and Peter are good, but they're not as good as Paul and Ace. Brian Ferry, These Foolish Things, the Eagles' debut album, and the self-titled debut of Peter Gabriel. So that's all my favourite 70s debut records. And then with I Know, it could be like saying I Know What I Know, which is a song titled by Paul Simon on 1986's Graceland. And then Here Today is pretty good. It could be like saying Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, and that's a song titled by the Ramones on 1977's Rocket to Russia. And then with that title, Here Today, well, Here on its own is an album titled by Leo Sayer from 1979. Then with Here, we can have Here Comes Tonight, which is a song title by Van Morrison and Them, and covered by David Bowie from 1973's Pin-Ups, which celebrated its 45th anniversary this year. And then we can have Here Comes My Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers from 1979's Damn Torpedoes. And then we also have Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles on 1969's Abbey Road, and probably my favourite George Harrison song of all time. So yeah, good song. I Just Wasn't Made for These Times is pretty good as well. I don't know how much to say on that one, but it's fine. The title track Pet Sounds can be a bit annoying, but then Caroline No I think is awesome. And Caroline on its own are song titles by both Status Quo on 1973's Hello and by Fleetwood Mac on 1987's Tango in the Night. And then also, like saying Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond as well. So yeah, Pet Sounds is an awesome album. So I'll just leave that on there. And then I have the compilation. I'll just do you all the hits that I missed off. So, California Girls is a great song. And and that song was covered by David Lee Roth in the 80s after he left Van Halen. And California on its own is a song titled by Joni Mitchell on 1971's Blue. And it's also the title of the early version of Bob Dylan's Outlaw Blues, which was an outtake from 1965's Bring It All Back Home. The best Bob Dylan album ever of all time. And then with California Girls, we can have something like California Blue by Roy Orbison on 1989's Mystery Girl. And then maybe California Star by Bob Seger on 2014's Ride Out. And there's a couple of other ones as well, I can't think of any. Then we have Good Vibrations, which is an awesome song, and Rolling Stone magazine ranks it as the 6th greatest song of all time. And I like the music to that, it's very fun. It's a very fun melody to it. Then it could be like saying Good Times, which is a song titled by the Rolling Stones on their 1964 record 12 by 5. And that could be a reference for I Just Wasn't Made for These Times on Pet Sounds. Or even Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin on 1969's Zeppelin 2. Sorry, Zeppelin 1, my fault. Call myself a fan of Led Zeppelin, I don't know what album it's on. I'm getting mixed up. But anyway. Or even Good Eye as well by Bruce Springsteen on 2009's Working on a Dream. And there's a couple of other ones we're good as well. I'll move on to the next one. Fun 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 is awesome. And Fun 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 is the same riff as Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good. And then the structure of the lyrics is very similar to the Beatles song I Saw Her Standing There, which is the opening track on 1963's Please Please Me, which celebrates its 55th anniversary this year, as well as the 55th anniversary of With the Beatles. And Fun is also a song titled by Sly and the Family Stone from 1968's Life, which comes off this album right here. There you go. Right. So I like that one a lot. Fun 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 is like they're saying Fine 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 by Status Quo on 1974's Quo. 409 is pretty good as well, but if you change it around and call it 904, imagine you call it 905. 905 is a song titled by Aladdin, Homer, Shrek and Wallace on 1978's Who Are You, which is one of the final albums to have Wallace playing drums, but sung by Shrek. And then in the Little Mix version, it would be sung by Leanne Pinnock, so then obviously Perry Edwards would not be credited on the performance. Hopefully it'll be on the 8th studio album from Little Mix in 2025, which could be the final record for Jesse Nelson. Anyway, The Young Man Is Gone is pretty fun as well. Young Man, like saying Young Man's Blues by Aladdin, Homer, Shrek and Wallace, recorded for the Live at Leeds album as well. Then perhaps in a different state of England, it could be Little Mix live at whatever, which could be done on the Glory Days tour. And then All Summer Long is pretty good as well, and that's the song titled by Kid Rock, which ripped off Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London and then has the riff to Lynyrd Skynyrd's Sweet Home Alabama with the do 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 do. Anyway, then we have Little Deuce Coupe. It's a pretty good song. Deuce on its own is an album titled by Rory Gallagher, and you know, I'm starting to get into Rory Gallagher actually, and I'm also getting into Steely Dan. I'll be buying all their albums next year as well, and the same for J.J. Cale, Mark Knopfler, Robert Plant, Brian Ferry, definitely, Paul McCartney, and quite possibly Blur. I'll be buying all those artists next year, in 2019. And Deuce is also a song titled by Kiss on their 1974 self-titled debut. I do think Help Me Rhonda is awesome as well. Help Me is a song titled by Joni Mitchell from 1974's Court and Spark, which is awesome. Then we have I Get Around, which is also great. It could be like saying Around and Around by both Pink Floyd on 1987's Momentary Lapse of Reason and Chuck Berry, but covered by the Rolling Stones on 1964's 12 by 5. Dance 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 is pretty good as well, with the bass playing. Be True to Your School is pretty cool as well, and Be True is a song titled by Bruce Springsteen, recorded during the River Sessions. Surfer Girl is quite good as well. Girl on Its Own is a song titled by the Beatles on 1965's Rubber Soul. And then we can have American Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on their 1976 self-titled debut, which is one of my favourite 70s debut albums along with everything else I've mentioned. And then we can have Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young on 1969's Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. And then covered by Shrek on 1971, Smash Your Head Against the Wall, and then also credited to Leanne Pinnock from Little Mix as well. Because basically, as I said before, Leanne should have done her debut solo album this year. And then we have My Girl by both The Temptations, and by Aerosmith on 1989's Pump. And then we could have maybe Hey Girl covered by Billy Joel from The Small Faces and The Temptations. And loads of other ones with girl in it as well. And then I love That I Kissed Her, which was their cover of the Crystal song, and then Kiss covered it as well on 1977's Love Gun with Then She Kissed Me. So it goes, so the Kiss version goes, well, she walked up to me and she asked me if I wanted to dance. Whereas in Beach Boys it goes, well, I walked up to her and I asked her if she wanted to dance. Which is pretty cool. Little Girl, You're My Miss America is pretty good. Miss America would be like saying, Mama Miss America, which is a song titled by Paul McCartney on his 1970 record, McCartney. Another one of my favourite 70s debut albums, along with everything else I mentioned, and also featured on the Jerry Maguire soundtrack as well, along with Sing Along Junk by Paul McCartney on the same record. Surfing Safari is pretty good too, I really like that song. And I love Barbara Ann. Barbara Ann is a bit of a sort of title of Barbara Allen, which was covered by Simon and Garfunkel as a bonus track on 1966's Sounds of Silence, and then covered by the Everly Brothers and by Bob Dylan live. And then Barbara Ann was also covered by, it was covered by Aladdin, Homer, Shrek and Wallace as a bonus track from 1966 as a quick one. And then Little Mix could do it as well as an outtake from 2013's Salute. And then we finished with Don't Worry Baby, which is a pretty good song too. And it was covered by Brian Ferry on 1973's These Foolish Things, which is another favourite 70s debut album to me along with everything else I've mentioned. And the music on that is just awesome. So yeah, that's that compilation for you. So that's it. I didn't have many Beach Boys records. I'm going to start getting a few Beach Boys records, hopefully. So anyway, thank you very much guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel. I have 95 subscribers now, so can I please get 100 before the 9th of January 2019. People have less than 2 weeks now, so I need 5 more subscribers before the 9th of January so I can give you a 3-year anniversary tribute of me being on YouTube. So anyway, thank you very much guys, and stay tuned for Monday for my New Year's Eve, for my New Year's message for you. Thank you very much. Take care and bye bye.